Yo, can I get a Wazam? It's your boy Laugh as I May with.
Bree Danielle.
And today the topic of discussion is running out of time. Talk to him, Bree.
Myth or fact? Are you really running out of time? Um, Running out of time to do what? Because in a general sense, I guess we're all running out of time since we don't know, when we're gonna leave here. But in a more um, specific sense of running out of time to accomplish certain things based on the media, I guess, based on what you think should be happening at a certain age.
Family.
So let's family. Who else is telling you based on like the natural your idea of the natural succession of things? Are you running out of time? What could you possibly be running out of time to do? Have kids,
That's number one.
get married, um, buy a house, get $1 million. There are a lot of things that people think that they're running out of time to do. And I guess what we want to talk about today is we all know that that's a phenom now. Like it's a big thing to be running out of time. But what does that do to your mental health, your peace? What does that do to you as an individual to think that you're running out of time or to have so many people put pressure on you to do certain things before a certain age or you're considered a failure? Um, so Trevor, what are some things that, you people have put on you that you're running out of time to do?
Here's that favorite line right here. Hit it. You gotta hit it. You gotta hit it right now. How old are you? 29.
You're gonna
How
kids?
how old your mama is? Your mama ain't gonna see your grandkid. That's it.
You on a
They don't
kid?
necessarily just say it, but they try to put that little hint on you. They be like, "Your mama ain't gonna see your grandkid."
And you know what? That is interesting to know because I was always think that that would be put on like the female, like the older female who's over the age of 22. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I understand that in past generations, people were having kids at 18, 16, 20, 22. They were already had, married with a family. Um, but this ain't that. Studies have shown that women are having children much, much later in life. And the greatest part about being a human being is that we are adaptable. So our bodies are beginning to adapt to us having kids later. So, they might say you're high risk, sure, but our bodies are beginning to adapt to be able to have kids at a later life because it's called evolution. Um, but it's crazy. It's just really crazy to think that they're asking me and like, you not ready to have kids. Like that's not usually something that I hear.
It's mostly older
Um,
women.
that's crazy, and that's so crazy. But I'm just happy to know that all the pressure is not on us as women. Um, I'm grateful for that.
But it might could be because you gotta ask someone else because my parents are older. So like I said,
What's older?
my mama had me at 40 and I'm almost 30. So kind of a different your mama ain't gonna see your grandkids type thing. So
Yes, she will. She in due time. The Lord is
do
gonna
I-
make it happen for her. Okay, calm down. Um, but shout out to your mama for having you at 40. Like gives me a little hope that I got a little longer. I can push it. I can push it on out. Okay.
my
Are you the youngest?
yes, my sister had my nephew at 40 something. Yeah, 40. I think 40, 41. So
Anybody that's listening that's worried about, do you have time to have kids? Trevor's family is very much so proof that you have time.
by the way,
Okay.
it's less pressure than 5 years ago, and I'm almost 30. So at 24, like you gonna ever have a kid? Y'all, what's wrong with y'all family? What?
What's wrong with what you doing? What you doing? What you doing? What are you doing?
It's still there, but it's way
Um,
less pressure now because she got one
way
grandchild.
less.
So, like I said, it might
Yeah,
end up
so
being that too. Again, that's still related to time, grandparents, all that pressure. That like, why your kids ain't having grandkids?
it's pressure on everybody because I'm sure people ask my mom and daddy all the time, like, does she even got a boyfriend? Like, what? Or is she even thinking about, what's next for us? Um, so listen, we're really just having a conversation today because it I guess because I'm now in the age bracket, I don't think this is like a new thing. I just think that we've arrived to the age bracket for these to be the questions. Um, I'm sure that this has been a old age thing, age old thing where like they were asking my mama at the age of 22, like, you know, you on when you ready to have a family? Like, what, I just think that it's just the time that we're in. It's just our turn to get these questions. Um, but I do think that there's way more pressure because of social media. I know we blame a lot on social media, but that's just because we can see everything, and so
Social media is pressure
now
too.
social media is very much so pressure because it's people my age and younger who are like millionaires. They got 3 kids. They've been married for 6 years. And I'm like, bro, you just turned 27. Like, how is this your life already? Like, it's like these unrealistic expectations. I'm like, dang, am I behind? Like, am I really like like
It
a late
is.
bloomer?
Yes, they
Like,
put pressure on you now. You're like, oh, this 18-year-old just made $10 million.
it's a lot of pressure, okay? But what is important to understand about social media is that social media is most of the time only showing you the glitz and glam, especially if it's coming from that particular person. Nobody wants to broadcast their failures and how hard it is for them to even obtain things like this. Because we all know, like, with money comes more problems. More money, more problems. Like people who got married young and have kids, some of them have amazing lives. Some of them really, really enjoy it. But at the same time, I feel like there could be a space where they're like, I could have waited and I could have, lived more of my life. So regardless of
Hmm.
what side you're on, like you're not missing out, I guess is the thing. Like when people think you're running out of time, they think you're missing out on something. The people who are married with children and wishing they were, able to have more freedom, you ain't missing nothing on this side. And then the people who are single and like wanting to be married and wanting to have a family, baby, don't rush it because there are just certain things that you're not going to be able to do on either side.
Yeah, for you young kid, call me Boomer. I want you to know you'll be Lil Pump. I'm gonna be Jay-Z. Learn your play. One of them already gone. You know that man.
Oh, you boomer.
That man. Hey, one of them already gone. One of them still here. One of them got it when they were like 26. So let you know something.
Listen, yeah, yeah, like we just really wanted to make this light today because running out of time is a real thing, but like to be able to like look at it from like our perspective and know like I really do have time, like. But I know a lot of people deal with that like seriously. Like I
Yeah.
don't have time. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do what I want to do, before missing my window of opportunity, I guess. But you create that opportunity um for yourself. And all I'm gonna say is enjoy the season that you're in. Um, like really soak in the present moment because when you're not here anymore, you're gonna wish that you did some things differently while you were here.
I want to see how many of our viewers hit. By the way, viewers, hit that like button and subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Hit that follow button if you're on Spotify, Apple Music, or anything else. So hit us with that. And if you are a long time viewer, you'll notice enjoy the journey more than the destination because the destination ain't always what it's appeared to be. You can drive to the Smoky Mountains if you sleep the whole way, then you get there, and then it rain the whole time. You won't enjoy nothing. Because always your destination ain't always where you want to be.
Listen, facts. And your destination is not always where you will end up. So you might as well enjoy getting there because you don't know how long you'll stay there. Because you can like be so in a hurry to get to a place and then you stay there for a season and it's time to move again.
That's
So
true.
it's just the journey is always, I think the journey is always the most important part because you learn so much about yourself. You get to experience things along the way that you wouldn't have if you weren't so focused on just getting there, if that makes any sense. Um, and then while you're along the journey and you learn these things, whenever you get ready to take another journey, because we're always on the journey, well, if you ever get to a place and you stay there forever, then it's not smart. You're stuck, and we don't want to be stuck. In order for us to live in purpose and to be our full selves, we have to remember that we always have to grow and evolve, and we always have to elevate. More importantly, and so along the journey, you learn a lot of things. Um, and so you want to be able to take those things with you and have them on the next journey so that you're not like starting over and you're not learning the same thing that you could have learned on the first journey if you weren't so focused on getting to the destination so quickly.
Well, let's get a little personal. I'll tell mine, but I'm gonna ask Bree this. Bree, what is something that you have a problem with in thinking you run out of time? Outside of what everybody else put on you, because you asked me that already. But anything you want to do that
Um,
like I'm not might not be able to get it in that time frame that I had in my mind.
there's so much, and some of them are really cliche. Um, but now that I'm getting older, like a couple years ago, I was like, I have time to have kids and to meet a man and whatever, whatever. I don't think I'm running out of time. I do think I'm running out of time to be a millionaire because I feel like I should at least have a couple 100,000 on the way to the millionaire. I wanted to be of high stature by the time I was 30. Um, I do have a master's degree. I about at 26. Like I've done a lot of things like early on to try to put myself in a position where I'm like owning a multi-million dollar company by the age of 30. That ain't gonna happen. I'm not worried about it no more. But that's just one of the things that it could still happen, but I'm running out of time in a very literal sense. Um, One thing I do have, I still had the same pressures because I'm a woman, finding a husband, having children, building a family. Um, but I realized that I feel like I'm running out of time because I gave myself these unrealistic timelines about how long I wanted to date the man, how long I wanted us to be engaged, and how long I wanted us to wait to have kids after we were married. Just creating very strict boundaries. And so I would think that I was running out of time based on the timeline that I had set for myself. But I've come to realize that things will happen when they happen, in the time that they're supposed to happen. And I've like released that, I guess, like, all right, whenever it happens, I'll be here type of thing. Instead of like, dang, is he gonna come this year? Dang, is he gonna come next year? Dang, like, how long are we gonna have? Now we're gonna have to extend this. I wanted to wait 2 years before we got married. Like it puts a lot of pressure on yourself when you create these self-inflicted timelines. Cause um yes, my mother says, you know, seldomly, she can't wait to be a grandmother. And I tell her that she's gonna keep waiting because do you have grandmother money? She always tells me yes, which just screws up the whole thing at that point. Like, gosh, like she's like,
I'm ready to spoil the grandbaby. What you mean?
right,
Yes, I got it.
like you have McDonald's money. Do you have grandparent? Do you have baby money? She's like, yeah, I do. What's next? I'm like, that's not how that's supposed to go. But um, I have other things that I want to accomplish before I even think about raising another human being because when that child comes, no life is no longer about me, and I'm very much so enjoying life being about me. So,
Yes, you gotta raise
um,
the cacti. That's up first. Raise the cacti
I
first.
have to raise a plant first.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we get
And
a
they take a
puppy,
lot of
and then when the
time.
puppy be grown, it can help raise the child.
That is I'm so glad you remember, Trevor. Listen, it's plant, puppy, baby. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how it's gonna go. So by the time I turn 35, I should be well up, well as prepared as I can be to raise a baby anyway. But yeah, I'm trying to think about something else that I think I'm running out of. That's like a cliche. Being a millionaire is definitely one of them because I definitely want to have six streams of income by the time I turn 30. Um, and that's not happening right now. Um, but I'm still working on it. So even if it's not by 30, it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
I think that's one of the major things that I was thinking about running out of time to do to be rich.
My goal was always to be able to retire. I never cared about. Even though one point I did want to be the richest man in the world as the first black person to do that. But then I kind of got over it because I also wanted to be the first black president. Then I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't really. Then I like, I don't really want that job. It's the most thankless job ever. I don't have time for half the country hating me for doing for nothing. Just to see me in
Facts.
some like you red or blue, I hate you. I'm like, oh, I ain't even do nothing to you. I don't like you. And then, but
Whatever.
one of them still is to be able to retire by 35. That was my goal since I was 6. I like wrote that down. Like, hey, I ain't working.
35, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
at
not
40,
working
I'm
no more.
not. I ain't. If I ain't gotta do it, I ain't gotta do it.
I'm doing
Like, so that was one of my goals. Getting married and all that stuff. I like, it come at a time. I'm a dude that go with the flow. I always been like that guy who just goes with the flow of life.
I've never been that girl. And so it's very difficult for me. It was very difficult for me to release like my timeline of like this is kind of what I want. And this is a timeline that I made as an adult, not like as a kid. I'm like, I'm an adult now. This is what I want to do. This is how I want it to be. Um, so I'm not a go with the flow person. Like I despise anyone who can do that. I'm like envious. I'm like, you could just go with it. Like you don't got a plan. And so anybody that deals with me knows like I need structure. So going with the flow is very difficult, but I'm doing it and it's happening.
By the way, most of y'all learn how to go with the flow because, as they say, if you wanna make God laugh, tell him your plan.
The man been laughing at me for years.
Cause I promise you, if you think you got something, life will show you. I was supposed to have with like 3 camps by now with NASA. As everybody know, if you've seen, I have a NASA thing where I do with NASA and I do camp. And the world closed because of COVID. There haven't been no camps.
The man is that man, that big man is funny, okay? I had told him some stuff I wanted to do, and then he stuck me in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. And so I was like, this where you said? Oh, okay. Then let's do it. The man is funny. So um I I stopped making a lot of plans.
Yeah, and plus a lot of it, people, a lot of y'all. This is what I want y'all to get out. Now we're gonna get a little serious. Even though I'm gonna go back to joking in a minute. Understand when you plan stuff, be able to let it go, as Bree said, because it will affect your mental health.
Listen, it will literally tear you apart to where like once you don't hit the mark or the goal that you had set, you literally feel like a failure. Like you
Yeah,
literally feel like you're not worth it. So let's take for example, like you thought you would be married by the age of 26, right? Here it is on your 27th birthday, and you're not even in a serious relationship. Like you would literally think like I'm not worth it. Nobody wants me. Maybe I'm just not meant to be married. No, maybe you just put unrealistic timelines on yourself because God had other plans for you during this time. Like, did you consult with God about, whether or not he wanted you to be married at 26? Um, Usually the answer is no, because he's not, he's on his own, he's outside of time. And so what we think is a long time, he thinks is like a minute. So just don't put unrealistic timelines on yourself, because I'm telling you, you will literally feel like you're failing at life. Like, dang, I ain't the person that I thought I was. And yes, I said ain't. Let it go.
Mind your business. Oh,
Please.
also, note when I say affects your mental health, if you don't get, I have seen people go crazy when they fail a test. They feel like they ain't got time to make up for it. They world go down. Then guess what? They make bad on the next test. Then they get really depressed. All this stuff, you start feeling pressure. I know it ain't about pressure about time, but pressure and time usually comes together. So,
Exactly.
because usually,
Especially when you think about running out.
yeah. So, like, oh, I did this. I ain't got enough tests to make it. I'm like, bro, all you gotta do make 100 on the next test, you'll be good. But they can't take it, and they don't do good on the next test because they done stressed 8 and then cried and they can't do stuff. Just a little thing like that. That will affect your mental health terribly. just like
Yes.
we can say, comparing your life to people on social media, even though you don't know your own life. Social media is a highlight reel. By the way, when I'm famous and I be Jay-Z to y'all little pumps, I'm remind you every day at all my failings.
I cannot wait to tell people how I feel. I feel like
I'm
I got something.
gonna tell you about my fail. I'm gonna be like that old man that sit on the porch. Come here. You know what I did, and I'm not talking about the one that brag. You know you got the one that brag. Then you got the one that tell you sad stuff all day. I don't know how.
All day. We gonna make sure Trevor got a balance. We gonna make sure old man Trevor has a balance. He gonna tell you both. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you about the bad stuff. Like you know that old man that's on the porch. You go up to him, he talk to you. He always drinking. He tell you about how they got beat in the '60s, and I'm like, that was depressing.
Right. I thought y'all supposed to be encouraging me.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
In my day.
You know, you got two of them. You got the one that talk about how he would have started a football team.
I was a boy. I played with Jerry Rice.
I should have went pro, but my leg hurt.
Shoulda, coulda. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
They always got the same thing. I hurt my leg. I'm like, how did all y'all hurt y'all leg?
It's always the leg. Ain't nobody hurt no shoulder. Or it's just got to be your leg. What's going on?
I blew my leg. I blew my knee out, and then I couldn't play with Jerry Rice no more.
Crazy. So yeah, we just gotta learn how to bounce back, because if you feel like you're a failure, you'll never try again. And
Yeah.
if you do try, you're gonna try. You're gonna have a it. Okay. You're gonna have it.
By the way, before we go, I want to expand on one more thing. Also, putting a timeline on yourself make you make bad decisions that might even hamper your timeline in the first place. I got to be married in 4 years. I need to find a man. You go find some dude who you think you he look like I'm attracted to him. I'm gonna make it work.
Close your eyes. You can close your eyes, spin in a circle, and pick the first guy that meets the bare minimum of the standard that you have.
And then as soon as you pick the female or male that you want, you upset because he ain't what you really want.
Because he was never supposed to be there in the first place.
Yeah, you just picking. Then sometimes you just overlook people because you picking somebody that you don't pick. You can have somebody right next to you. By the way, it's a situation with one of my best friends from high school. She used to be like, why you, I literally told her this. I might be repeating a lot of this, but I told her, like, she's like, why do I always find horrible people to date? I'm like, cause you date the same person.
We did have this conversation.
Yeah, I remember that. They all fit, cause that's the same story all the time. And then, like I said, in that same story, if you remember, cause some of y'all knew, if you remember the story, one of them my cousins, so it ain't like I'm dissing. Well, I am kind of dissing, but they the same person. You can't date the same type of dude over and over again and get a different result. It ain't gonna work.
You can't, and that's also based on unrealistic, like what you think it should be. They putting a lot of pressure on yourself to fit a piece of the puzzle that not supposed to fit in the first place.
Yeah, by the way, your type
And
might
so
not
you
be your
start to
type.
conform. Yeah, you start to conform to those people, like liking what they like and making yourself turn into a whole different person, just to make sure you can keep them in a
And
sense.
and get on that time schedule. I gotta be married by 26.
So I'm gonna change my entire being. I'm gonna change the whole makeup of my person and concept of my moral standard just to hit a mark. Don't do that, guys.
Bro, I got a question. Do you think that's more toward? We talked about this earlier. You think that's more toward women than men? Time frames. Cause I wonder how many men think like I do. Like I'm just going with the flow.
Trevor, honestly, I do think it's a woman thing. Um, Men are like the epitome of go with the flow. Um, and it drives me up a wall because, and I think that's just the yin and yang type of thing. In a heterosexual sense, of course. You always need to have that person who is structured and like has a timeline and like wants to do things in a certain order, and you have to have the balance of the person who's like, we'll just do what we got to do, because there's times for both of those. But yes, I do think I hate to say that it's a woman thing because I feel like men, have a timeline, but they're just not as strict on the timeline.
Yeah, like if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, they're like, I want this to happen, and it would be great if this was to happen in a couple years. And I think what I do think is that men they're stricter on like timelines and structure when it comes to different things, but when it comes to like relationships and like being married, no.
Yeah, I was watching an interview and someone talking about how one person was like pressuring them to like take the next step, and they weren't. They were like, then they all of a sudden they felt the pressure, and they're like, I don't know if I want to. And I
I
feel like
also
a
think it's
lot
a
of relationship
rebellious,
doing that.
yeah, it's like a rebellious type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
you're rushing me, I'm gonna do the exact opposite and go even slower because I probably had intent to marry you within 2 years, but now that you're bringing it up, I'm gonna push it back a couple more.
Yeah, I think my cousin does that actually.
Yeah, I think it's a real thing. Like,
Yeah,
you're pressuring me, so I'm gonna do the exact opposite.
yeah. Cause I remember, cause I think he gonna know if he listen to this, he gonna know what I'm talking about. But I think one time he was like, you know what, I'm gonna marry this girl, and then she started pressuring him like a week later. He was like, I don't know now.
Now I'm unsure.
Yeah, like I don't like this pressure. She acting different. I don't like it.
Yeah.
This how it gonna be when we married. Like like a scary thought. Like is she gonna pressure me to
Is
do
this what
stuff?
I right?
Yeah. So I think
Is
yeah,
this what my everyday life is gonna be like?
yeah, you gonna pressure me to do everything? I don't know if I want that. So now I'm hesitant. But yeah, time frames can make you miserable, make the people around you miserable. Even though we're not saying don't have a time frame to do stuff. You should always have a goal that you want to reach at,
Exactly.
at a time, but don't let it define you. Maybe most likely what we saying.
Yeah, don't be so hard on yourself about, you know, hitting that goal within that time frame, and be smart about the time frame. I mean, don't create um this arbitrary timeline based on, what others think, um based on what you see on social media, based on the pressure that, other people are putting on you. Don't add that pressure onto yourself to move up a timeline that should be pushed back in the first place.
That is true. A shout out to a bunch of different podcasts. You might see Bree on other podcasts. So let's go. Let's see. The queen is gonna be on it. The star gonna shine everywhere. Like I told him. I don't even know she. I keep telling her she a star. I don't know if she know it yet. I'll say
Not yet. I'm getting there.
she getting noticed now. I still ain't been noticed. I told her she a star.
I'm not a star. Somebody lied.
Yeah.
Oh, I got chocolate in the car. Anyway, random song lyrics. Uh, yes, I'm not yet. Yet. Okay? Give us a while. Give us a second. We're gonna pop out on y'all.
Yeah, man, you're gonna be shocked when you see it. By the way, Joe had a show, Unico Williams. The Do You Hear Me had last Friday. Had some guests. They're very interesting, very good podcast. Joe does amazing. I know y'all see me with him. Y'all would have seen me with him on Sunday. I think this week me and Kid Credit Player back with What's New 99 Sports. Or Keep It 99. I forgot which one we gonna do. Depending on which one. It ain't really like outside the Masters ain't really nothing going on, so we'll figure it out. But we having a good time. And remember to keep stomping. Bree, any last word?
Always drink your water and mind your business.
True that. And remember today something amazing can happen. Peace.